Hello, and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie, Dip&ChewGuy, and this is another entry of the Bubblegum Diaries. So, we will be taking a look at Hubba Bubba Max Original. Why the Max? Because really, this is the closest thing that Hubba Bubba has to bubblegum in the original flavor in the U.S. market at this time. There is no non-Max original. The only other thing they have is the Bubble Tape original, which I will at a later date make an argument that it is not bubblegum. The tape is not bubblegum. And why do I say that? Well, things with that product specifically, but in general, one must keep in mind that Hubba Bubba is and has always been a product of Wrigley's. Wrigley's chewing gum, juicy fruit, double mint, etc. So, and it always has been. This product came out in 1979. It was Wrigley's answer to what they were seeing with the huge sales growth of Bubble Yum that had come out in 1975, and then Bubblicious, which came out itself as an answer to that in 77. Wrigley's jumped on board in 79 with Hubba Bubba. Now, Hubba Bubba today is still made by Wrigley's. Wrigley's is a subsidiary of Mars. This product is coming out of Chicago, Illinois. All right. That said, Hubba Bubba is marketed in quite a number of countries around the world. And it's not overly clear who has the rights to it in all of those countries. All right. One in the Anglosphere that sticks out is Australia. Australia has quite a number of flavors in the 5-piece chunk piece format. They also have a lot of bubble tape, bubble gum tape. Britain has its Hubba Bubba. They have at least 3 flavors at the moment. They are different from the flavors in the U.S. The ones in Australia are different from the flavors in the U.S. It's also got a couple flavors floating around in Croatia and Germany and Norway. And I tried to make sense of it before I came on to make this video, and I came to the conclusion that even if I could make sense of it, and it was a big could possible, it would be its own video by itself. So this is the review of this stuff. I have had this before. Hubba Bubba back in the 80s was not a favorite of mine for whatever reason. I do not know why. Their flavors must have not vibed with me. This is one of only a couple in the US right now that are in the format. This is a 5-block pack. All right. Most of the Hubba Bubba that is seen around me in stores is actually the bubble tape. All right. I don't like the bubble tape. I'm not a fan of the bubble tape. I am not a fan of this stuff, to tell you the truth. I've only had the original Max once. It's not terrible. It's usable. It's not to my particular liking. As far as original goes, it's not a really good original flavor to me, anyway. So 5 pieces in there. They are the chunk block pieces. I see all sorts of places calling it different. Block pieces, chunk piece. In fact, I was just reading an article on the Wikipedia for Hubba Bubba that was calling them chunks. 5-pack. Basically, sorry about that. Basically the same on both sides. They do have the ingredients and some manufacturer's information. As I said, this is Wrigley's. Wrigley's itself is operating out of Chicago, Illinois. Okay, there is an expiration date right there. All right, and all the packs of gum seem to have these now. This one is the 19th of November of this year, 2021. All right, they have a do your part, don't litter, which I still sort of think it's just a theory of mine that from the 80s sort of did bubblegum in thereafter, because there used to be bubblegum all over the sidewalks, all over the place, especially out front stores, and I think it almost got a bad rep, and gum companies were like, yeah, we got to start marketing to adults, and adults, besides myself, like chewing gum. So they do have the ingredients list. I'm not going to get into that. They have the barcode on the other side there, and the website, hubbabubba.com, just leads you to the Mars Incorporated website, where you go through the Wrigley's subsection, and you click on Hubba Bubba, and then it says connect with Hubba Bubba, and then you find out that Hubba Bubba has absolutely no internet presence, and there's no way to connect. So, where is the little... Okay, so right on the one side here, you have the little pull tab. And you have this. Now, with theirs, it's sort of like wax paper. With theirs, it's a little bit different. The piece is very uniform. It's got some notches on both sides, which you can probably see. Their pieces are very uniform, and they feel tacky, but nothing comes off on your hand. Now, the Max ones, and this is something that Hubba Bubba started doing back in the 80s with their watermelon. Green outside, red inside. The Max sort of carries that on. It looks waxy. Like, there's a sheen on this in person, and it looks waxy. And then you get in the mouth, and this is one of the things I don't like about it, and it feels waxy. It feels, at first at least, like you're chewing up. Remember the candy, they were like the little soda bottles? The wax things you bit off the top, you drank whatever the concoction was inside. It actually feels like chewing on the wax. The flavor, it's okay. It's obviously an original. It's all right. I don't think, personally, I have so much problem with the flavor. It's not the best. Personally, I don't think it's the best original bubblegum flavor. There's nothing really wrong with it, though. I think it is the mouthfeel of the stuff, that waxy, that turns me off. So, saying all this, don't get it wrong, I'll chew the rest of this pack. I mean, it's not something like, well, God no, and throwing it won't be thrown out, it'll be used. And the waxiness, as you keep chewing, it loses that. It softens up, and eventually it does blow a pretty good bubble. And I'm going to pause this video because I haven't been blowing bubbles in these videos, and that's because I don't have enough time. So I'm going to throw a second one in. I wish... This is one of those things, like why can't... Number one, what's happened to bubblegum? Why the huge move to chewing gum? But besides that, if bubblegum could be brought back in, why doesn't a company like Wrigley's invest more in it? Like, why is there only 2 or 3 flavors of Hubba Bubba in this format? and the rest is bubble tape. It's Wrigley's, which is now part of Mars, which is like, owns, Lord knows what they're listed at. But they're worth a lot. There's no shortage of money. It's sort of like, why does Swisher put out stuff like Creek? They're not short of money. Why do they do that? So I'm going to hit the pause button, and then I will be back. So, it doesn't actually take as long to chew this stuff to a point where you can blow bubbles with it. That said, it's sort of sticky stuff. And that's noteworthy. Besides the obvious that you may have a mishap. It's noteworthy because Hubba Bubba originally was marketed as being less sticky. Like you weren't going to have a problem getting it plastered all over yourself. And that's what they came out with their advertising. Although, to tell you the truth, now that I think about it, Hubba Bubba wasn't even the original name of this stuff. The original commercials were of a like Old West like town, ghost town type deal with a couple of TV cowboys that I don't know their names offhand. I think this stuff was actually called Stagecoach. I'm dead serious. Which in itself would have been sort of cool, but it was the commercials even put across the fact that this stuff was not going to get, plastered all over you. 40 some years later, stuff's sort of sticky. And even though it's not waxing the mouth now, it feels a little different. It feels unnatural. Which all of this stuff is to varying degrees, but that I'm having to use the hand there. Now, I usually have like half a day's growth going on, so stuff tends to stick to me a little bit more than somebody that was cleanly shaven, but it blows them. And, consistency-wise and whatnot, it's good for that. The flavor, as I said, it's not a personal favorite of mine, but there's nothing really wrong with it. The mouthfeel, I find a little bit, that's what I think I mainly dislike about it. That mouthfeel coupled with the type of original. But, if you see it, give it a try. Partly because, to tell you the truth, besides their bubble tape, these packs seem like they're on their last legs here. The only time I ever see these are in, like, allotments of boxes, like the cases. I think there's, like, probably 18 packs to a case. Online. I never see this stuff. I was lucky enough to get one pack. But most of the time it only comes as cases, and I only see it online. I've never seen this stuff in a store around me. So if you see it, you may want to try it in case we get to a point where you no longer can try it. So this has been the review of Hubba Bubba Max Outrageous Original. I am the Suit&Tie, Dip&ChewGuy. I do hope you all are well. Do take care of yourselves, and as always, God bless.